Hey everybody, hey, it's Matt. Hey, I wanted to take a minute to explain what I call our two-call system. Now, when we're calling sellers, and this is speaking from our acquisitions VA standpoint, when an acquisitions VA is calling a seller, we actually do a two-call system. We don't try to close the call with one call. A lot of these guys will say, I do one call closes. That's false. I can tell you right now, if you use a two-call close versus a one-call close, you'll close way more seller leads. You'll get way more contracts. So let me explain to you how our two-call system works. So our two-call system is the first call. So what ends up happening, let's say you're doing cold calling and the cold caller's making dials to the seller. The calls go out and leads come in. Now, when that lead comes in, that lead's going to come into a lead manager. So that cold call develops a lead through cold calling, sends that lead, tags the lead manager. A lot of times the lead manager is you. If you're running the business solo, let's say you're just running this thing by yourself, the lead manager is you. Once that lead comes in, or that lead manager will take a look at that lead and decide if it's a good lead or a bad lead. So what makes a good lead or bad lead? Well, a bad lead might be something that doesn't fit your buy box. A bad lead might be something that has zero equity. Now, a lot of people do creative finance and they like to go after deals with no equity. I don't do that. I don't believe in that system. I believe in always having equity regardless of the situation. And part of that is because we're good at negotiating. We have top level acquisitions VAs that can negotiate down the price. In some cases, the seller just owes too much. We skip those deals. It's too much work for us. We like going directly to the easiest way to get paid. So when that lead manager determines, okay, there's equity in this deal, it fits our buy box, they hand that lead off to the acquisitions VA, and the acquisitions VA does call number one. Now, on call number one, they're basically doing four things on this call. They're not making an offer, all right? They're not making an offer. That comes on call number two. On that first call, they're gonna build rapport. They're going to find out why the seller wants to sell, where they're going to learn all about the seller's pain points, and then finally they're going to learn all about the house. Now, once they go through that, now that's probably in a lot of cases, it can vary a little bit, might be a 10 to 15 minute phone call, could go longer. Now, once they have that information, they fill out their notes in their CRM, they tag the lead manager back and say, hey, I just got off a call with, this seller. Here's the details of the conversation. The lead manager at that point reviews the information, crunches their numbers, and comes up with a max offer price. Now, on that, once that lead manager comes up with a max offer price, now they hand that lead back to the acquisitions VA, and the acquisitions VA picks up the phone and does call number two with the seller. Now, call number two is a negotiation phone call. Now they're going to present the offer. Let me explain to you why we don't make an offer on the first call. One, if you're making an offer on the first call, you don't have anybody to blame your offer on. That's one thing. And why is that important? Well, that's very important because if you can blame your offer on a partner, for example, then you preserve the relationship and the rapport built with the seller. The seller begins to trust you. The perfect sales call is you and the seller sitting on one side of the table and the partner on the other side of the table. The seller must feel like you are on their side. Very important, because if you build rapport with that seller and you can't come together on price today, that allows you to follow up over and over and over again down the road until you eventually get the house under contract. So that's one reason why we don't make an offer on the first call. The other thing is we do everything virtual. We haven't seen any pictures of the house. We don't know enough about the house yet, and we're making an offer before we see pictures, just to clarify. But what's the chances that on one quick phone call, you could determine everything about the house? This is the most important decision, a financial decision the seller has ever probably made in most cases. And all of a sudden on a 15-minute phone call, you can make them an offer. It doesn't sound believable. It subconsciously doesn't build ultimate trust with that seller. So you're at a disadvantage. But when you can say, hey, let me talk to my partner and let my partner crunch the numbers and we'll get back to you. Now that makes sense. Maybe you're getting back to them in an hour or 2 hours or later on in the day. Now that makes sense. You've done research. You've done your homework. You're a professional home buyer. Now you can present a real offer. But when you're just on the phone with a seller and all of a sudden, boom, you can shoot out an offer, it doesn't feel believable. Now for you and me, we do a lot of deals. That's no big deal. We can put offers together very fast, but a seller doesn't understand that. They're looking at it from their perspective, not from yours. So that's another reason why the second call becomes more powerful. So that's why we do a two-call system. I've been using the two-call system for several years. I learned it on my own just through doing thousands of deals myself. And once I switched over and realized that I needed that separation call, I got a lot more houses under contract. Hope that helps. Hope you can switch over and go to a system that will get you more contracts. Ultimately, I just want you to do more deals. We'll talk to you soon.